Thanks so much. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. Our next guest is one of the stars of the upcoming teen apocalypse comedy Daybreak. In it, Greg Kasyan plays Eli Kardashian. Not that kind of Kardashian. Let's take a look.
Buzz, buzz, Hornets. It's another gorgeous Glendale morning where it's always 82 degrees of opportunity. I look at you scholars and I see infinite possibilities. So don't wait to throw yourself into becoming the best you that you can be. Some say you're a lost generation, but with a winning attitude, you can conquer the world.
Seize the crowd!
I never underestimate the optimism of youth because I believe the children are our future.
So where do I see myself in the future? Crushing the apocalypse.
Strap in, douche waffles.
Shit's about to get weird.
And you thought we weren't gonna have any fun in the apocalypse. Shame on you.
From Daybreak, please welcome Greg Kasyan. Let's hear it. Hey there.
Hey, how are you?
Thanks so much for being here. Congrats on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's totally, you guys are going to expect a crazy ride on this one.
Yeah. How did you get involved?
Well, originally, my agent sent me the appointment for this, and I read the breakdown, and the character just spoke to me. It was pretty much it correlated with my life so well. I was like, I have to be the only one to play this. I'm actually born and raised in Glendale, just like how the show takes place. I went to the rival high school of Glendale High. There's just a whole bunch of stuff, and I think I've incorporated a lot of my personal life into the character.
The character is a bit of a, I wonder if and this doesn't mean that you are this way, but is a bit of a poser, I think, as they talk about him. He's constantly wearing knockoff shoes, has knockoff clothes, a knockoff motorcycle in a way. What did you think about that when you read that about him?
I thought it was super funny. One character that and which was really funny, I actually got a chance to meet him before I left the film. I forgot his last name. I remember his first name, Christopher, the guy who plays McLovin in Superbad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got the chance to meet him, and I talked to him a little bit about the show, and I kind of took a little bit of McLovin and tried to put it in a little bit of Eli, you know, mix the best of both worlds, so yeah.
In the sense that he's always trying to prove himself, and he's always trying to be like a cool guy that he might not be?
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much exactly that, yeah.
What does the set of this show look like? Because it's pretty amazing to watch. How much of that is digital? How much of that is, you know, on the set?
It's so amazing. We actually have two stages. We have two stages. We have one for the high school, and then we have another one. I'm not sure if I could say what it is or what setting it is. We basically have two stages. It's crazy. It's unreal. Just when you walk into both of the stages, you're just like amazed at how people put this together and how realistic they made it look. So it's just really phenomenal. I was blown away when I first walked in. So shout out to our set deck.
Now there's a ton of like sci-fi and apocalypse references, some of which from movies before you were born, I think. How much did you go back and watch? How much did they tell you that you should watch? Or did they even tell you that you had to watch anything?
No, they didn't really tell me to watch anything. But I mean, of course, I went back and watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Not Apocalypse, but yes,
yeah.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off is very much a part of this show.
Yeah, it totally gives me that kind of, it's like if Ferris Bueller's Day Off meets Mad Max, meets Zombieland, if it pretty much had a baby is what the series pretty much is.
And do you ever get to talk to the camera the way that the main character does, or is it just him?
I don't want to spoil anything. All I could say is there's some really interesting. You're gonna see some interesting stuff. You're gonna be in for a lot.
There's a lot of battle scenes in the show as well, or at least a number of battle scenes. How much did you have to prep for those? What was it like doing those?
Doing those kinds of scenes, it was always. Our stunt team was amazing. They were super nice. They made us always feel super comfortable, and yeah, we just rehearsed with them tons and tons. A lot of our cast had trainings and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it was really cool.
When did you start acting?
I started at the age of 7. I'm now 18.
Oh, okay. Good for you. Happy 18th birthday.
Thank you so much.
What made you start? How did you start?
If I remember correctly, I think I was about 5, and I think I saw someone crying on TV. I was watching TV.
I want to cry.
Yeah.
I don't know how to cry yet. I want
I
to
want to cry.
find a place for me to cry comfortably.
Yeah.
That was in front of a camera.
Pretty much. I guess it was that little strike of curiosity that kicked in my little brain when I was 5. I was like, that's cool. What is, that's kind of cool being on TV. You get to kind of create these characters. I don't know if I was able
get to cry.
Yeah, I finally get to cry, right? So my family did not know how to get me in the industry whatsoever. No one in my family is an
We're from
actor.
Glendale, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we were in the perfect area. We're in Los Angeles. So I told my mom, and my mom was like, okay, like we'll keep it in mind. His 5-year-old kid, you know what I mean? And then I kept begging and begging, and then my dad ended up having a patient who was a pretty well-known actress who passed away. I don't know who it was, unfortunately, but there are like those people that would come up to you in the mall and say like, oh, hey, like you should come be in the show, and it's this whole entire scam. And it happened to me, and my dad told the lady, she's like, no, that's all a big lie. Start off, go to some acting classes, get familiar with the craft, and then you'll just go on from there. And she sent me over to her friend, Constance Tilliston, who is a manager and an acting coach. She's wonderful.
At 7 years old?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I went to her, and I started training, and my current manager now was friends with her. And she came to the class, and she was just starting out to being a manager, and she was looking for a kid, and I guess she saw something in me, which I'm really grateful for, and I just went on from there.
What is it like going on auditions when you're 7, 8, 9 years old?
It's kind of, I mean, of course.
Are you even aware of the pressure at all?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what. I mean, I've been getting rejected since I was a kid, pretty much, over and over and over again. And I don't think I realized that until I hit the age of like 14, 15. I felt like everything else, I was just super oblivious to just being rejected left and right, like growing up, going to auditions and
You were never like emotional about it as a kid. You were able to kind of be like, this is just a thing that I'm doing today, and if I don't hear back, I'm not even thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, depends on the project. I feel like I remember definitely there were times, there were projects that I remember I definitely cried for when I was a kid that I didn't end up getting it or whatever. Like, for example, like I auditioned for like Big Time Rush or one of those like cool Nickelodeon shows, and I remember one day I didn't get it. And I just went home crying and crying. It was bad, but you get used to it. I mean, it's just the business. It's just the way the whole entire environment of the industry works. So, yeah.
When did you land your first role?
It was pretty cool. It was actually my second audition that I ever had. It was for The Middle on ABC. It was a really small role, but and it was kind of funny. It kind of set me up for high expectations. I was like, whoa, cool. I booked my second audition. I should be going to booking everything else, but that is completely not the truth. But yeah, I think I was about 7 or 8, something like that.
And what was it like on the set of The Middle as a 7 or 8-year-old, your first set?
I had no idea what I was doing, but the series regulars and other cast members on the show were super kind, and they helped me kind of get through it. So it was really nice of them.
How long did it take to book the next gig after that?
I got maybe a couple months. Maybe I had like a little commercial after. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I got no clue.
So skip ahead to Daybreak, right? A fair amount of stunts. How many do you get to do? Do you get to ride a motorcycle at all, or do you leave that to other people?
See, I did. I mean, I'm sure for that, obviously, I probably would have had to have like a motorcycle's license or something. I had like a stunt double doing that kind of stuff, which was super cool. And I didn't have my actual car license at the time, but yeah, pretty much everything that I couldn't legally do were done by a stunt double.
What could you legally do that you did?
Nothing. Yeah.
There was nothing you could legally do except for act?
Like, yeah, just pretty much act and like, yeah, that's it. Everything, all the other cool stuff I was not able to do. It was just a stunt double, and I was just like, great. Yeah.
When did you start really taking notice as an actor of other actors? 'Cause I'd imagine when you're 7 or 8, you're not really noticing like who the greats in the field are. But when did you start sort of doing your studies and paying attention to who they were?
You might call bullshit on this, but I am being 100% honest.
You've never seen a movie in your life?
No. When I was about 10 or 11, I was filming for Hawaii Five-0, and of course, as a kid, you're not gonna know about no Stanislavski, Meisner, any of those kind of studies of acting. But it was at the age of 11 or 10, I think, when I was filming in Hawaii. I forgot how I ran into the whole Meisner technique thing. I ended up asking my dad. I'm like, hey, can you order me this book? It was by Sidney Pollack. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. And I read like the whole thing in like the matter of a week at 11 years old. And that's when I really started studying and working on my craft. I went through some phases, but that's really when the start was.
What is it like working on a craft when you're 11 years old? How much do you feel like you understood versus were just sort of playing and experimenting and trying?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it was for sure more of like an experiment. Now that I'm older, I feel like I would go back to the things that I would try to study when I was younger and I didn't understand. But now that I go back as I'm older, I get to look into these kinds of things. And now I understand and I'm able to take it in more and apply it more and more. But it's kind of interesting. Now I have a lot of friends that are like going to college and trying to figure out what they want to do. So, and I never knew that it was not normal to know what you wanted to do since you were a kid and to work on what you wanted to do since you were a kid. I didn't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, now as I got older, I'm like, wow, I've been super fortunate and blessed to be able to be at like 7 or 11 or however old I was and be like, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to study for the rest of my life.
And there's no wavering on your part in any way. You just, you're committed and you're focused.
Yeah. I cannot see myself in anything else. I couldn't be able to live without this. This is like my dream. This is my heart, my soul. This is my everything.
Oh, that's amazing. I think we have time for a couple questions from the audience. Who has a question? Right here, back here.
Hi. I have a question from our site. Mm-hmm. What would be a dream show to work on or dream actor to work with for a future project?
A dream show. If something like A Bronx Tale could be put into a series, that would definitely be a dream show for me. I auditioned for Stranger Things a long time ago, and it was a pilot. I really love that show. It'd be cool to be working on that. And if it's to work with an actor who is alive now, it would, as cliche as this might sound, definitely Leonardo DiCaprio, because he's been one of my inspirations, and I dream to have a career like his, the films and everything that he's done.
How is that? You are just old enough to watch his movies. Like last year, you just turned of the age to watch most of his movies.
I mean, there's a lot of illegal websites out there. And watching, I remember I worked with Todd Phillips when I was probably 13, and he has a new Joker movie coming out, which is really cool.
What were you in when you were 13? What did you work on?
I was doing War Dogs. Yeah, the scene got cut out, but it was super nice working with him. He sent me a letter. I was to play like the young Jonah Hill, but I remember him asking me, he's like, "What's your favorite movie?" And at 13, I was like, "I really like Wolf of Wall Street. It's one of my favorites." And he kind of looked at me. He's like, "Cool."
Yeah. One more.
Hi.
Hi.
What was the toughest part of you all filming for the show?
Toughest part of me filming? That's a pretty tough question. There were definitely, not of course, every time you go film, it's not going to be perfect. It's not always going to be amazing, but I think the move was kind of tough because I moved from my home to Albuquerque, and at the time I was 17. And a parent had to legally be with me. So it's kind of like my family was a little split up. I didn't get to see anyone for a really long time. I didn't get to see any of my friends. We all kept in contact, but I did make a new family over there, my castmates and some of the crew members. So that kind of really evened it out for me. But that was probably the toughest thing.
Greg, when does the show hit Netflix?
on October 24th, so in about a couple weeks. Super excited.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be a huge hit.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Everybody give a huge round of applause for Greg Kasyan. Let's hear it.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys.